Ladies and gentlemen, hey, we got the special goalkeeping uh, guest for the session number 27 of the United States National High School Champions League starting 11. And no finer way is the kind of, you still got the newness about being in the Tampa Bay Hall of Fame, Jimmy, or is it wear off? You got just another Hall of Fame on your mantle. But Jimmy DINobile in Tampa Bay, it's like if you can't remember your passcode, people use just Jimmy DINobile. Jimmy DINobile. Yeah. All right, Jimmy, top of the morning to you. You're on, pal. You're on. Oh, and by the
Kevin,
and by the
yes,
way,
sir.
the whole story goes this: as far as the national sponsor, I know that you would have been in the United States Hall of Fame, Soccer Hall of Fame, had we played with select soccer ball. Because I mean to tell you, we it's a relationship with the select soccer ball and the individual player. It just makes you catch better, kick better, baba boom, baba bang. But the select soccer ball, the official ball of the United States National High School Champions League. How about that?
Kevin, great stuff. It is such a pleasure to be with you on episode number 27 of the United States High School Champions League starting 11. I've really enjoyed the episodes. I've been listening to many of them. And just piggybacking on our select soccer, I really enjoyed Tim McAvoy's episode about select soccer and the balls and the history. And I think we're all history buffs. We love the game. And Tim kept saying that it was a boring, or just, kind of thing about select soccer. But I do enjoy it. And select soccer's balls, I've been saying for forever, are just great soccer balls. And what a great sponsor to have them on board. So we tip off to Tim for that, and we've had some great people. I yesterday I really enjoyed Dave Ehrenberg's episode about the St. Louis State High School and talking about Maddie DiMaria, who is
Wow,
somebody
baby, yeah.
that I'm going to keep my binoculars on. And then, of course, there's the one and only and a special man and soccer aficionado, and that's the Eddie O episode from Tampa Bay. Eddie, I can call a friend, and boy, his story, his history, and we've all got our histories, we've all got our stories, we've all had our journeys in the game, and we look at the game in different ways given what we've learned in it and played in it and been associated with different people and and that's the game in a nutshell. The people that we play with and against and everybody involved in the game. But um, it's a real pleasure to be with you here, and I'd like to think we're all still pioneering along, Kevin and everyone. Our soccer history is long, but it's evolving. We are in a constant state of evolution and evolving into what we will become. It's something that, to quote the great Bob Marley, in this great future, you can't forget your past. We've come a long way. We've got a long way to go, and we've got something that is coming up this week, and I'm so excited. I mean, I can't wait to get going, and it's just 2 days away, and that's this edition of the 2026 World Cup. So my first thing is we're all pioneers. We can't forget our past. We've got to make sure that if we know where we're going, you got to know where you came from. And I want to number two on my list is I want to bring up a St. Louis Soccer Hall of Famer, a friend, a colleague, a teammate, and that's Steve Tritchew. Steve Tritchew out of Granite City High School and a member of the 1990 World Cup team. Boy, oh boy, Steve, for me, is quite an American soccer player, quite an American story. And he goes back to the 1990 World Cup for the United States. We had a 40-year lull in between World Cups appearances for the U.S. And Steve was part of that team. And Steve also was one of the very first, if not the first, of playing in the European Champions League as an American player. Steve is a person I got to know with and coach with, and actually, in my old days, we actually played together as he was trying to prep for the upcoming ensuing MLS league that was going to come about. And he is a young man that I'm very happy to be associated with. And being a St. Louis guy, there's so many St. Louis people that I admire and that have come through the system. But Steve came through the high school system in Granite City, just over the river. And I just wanted to give a shout out to him and that 1990 team. One of the interesting things about 1990 is that FIFA, because of what happened, and what happened was a lot of things about killing the game. If you remember, you had the ability to back pass the ball, and the great Dino's off for Italy, where the World Cup was being held. He literally killed off 20 minutes a game just by running side to side with the ball. And so the 1990 World Cup gave us some rule changes. One was that they enacted a 3-point system for wins. The old system, you only got 2 wins. So this 3-point system was to give teams the motivation to go after a win, to play a little bit more forward soccer, and to look to accumulate points. Another change was the refinement of the offside rule to make it less restrictive for forwards trying to score. And the referees were instructed to apply rules regarding fouls and misconducts more strictly, a move meant to protect players and their inventiveness or their creativity. However, the big change was the back pass rule. You could no longer, after the 1990 World Cup, in 1992, I believe it was put into place, that would curb that time wasting, and that would make the game more offensive, less defensive, more positive, and give us a chance to enjoy the game better rather than kill the game off. The 1990 World Cup, well, we made it there after 40 years, and we lost 3 games. And the first one wasn't pretty against Czechoslovakia, but we managed against Italy to play them real tough in their home country. And then the third game we dropped. But I think those pioneers, that 1990 team, is somebody that we really got to tip our hats off to the Paul Caligiuri $1 million, or was it $1 billion kick in Trinidad that got us into the World Cup in 1990. And that all kind of catapulted us into the 94 World Cup, which we do our math, Kevin, that's 32 years ago, that we hosted the last World Cup. And that's, that's my kind of my bullet point trivia question to you. And I'll just put it to us is that our very highest placing was when in the World Cup? Well, it was in the first World Cup in 1930 when we made it to the semifinals. There was only 13 teams in the World Cup then. It was played in Uruguay, which Uruguay won, and then that was our best outcome until 2022, where a new set of pioneers, the Landon Donovan crew and company, with Bruce Arena, made it to the quarterfinals in 2002. What a great accomplishment. I've grown kind of weary of the pessimism and the negativity of always, and the critics and the armchair quarterbacks. But that's sports. Everybody talks about them. You can't take the heat. Get out of the kitchen. But I like to look at things in a more proactive way and positive way. And those 1990, 94 teams and 2002 teams, they're pioneers. They're guys. And I'm not leaving out our women's side because they have their own pioneer story and certainly leaders in the story. But we got the men's World Cup coming up, and boy, oh boy, I'm excited. I got to share a real quick story about the upcoming World Cup 2026, which is upon us, not tomorrow, but the day after, with the opening game with Mexico playing South Africa in Mexico. As we know, we got 48 teams in this year's World Cup. And boy, oh boy, when you look at some of these teams, there are some little tiny teams in there, and literally and figuratively. Now, like I said, we all have our stories and our histories in the game that have shaped our perspective on the game. When I was a head coach at Eckerd College, I had a player named Patrick Wagner from Curacao. Patrick still lives in Curacao. When he graduated from Eckerd in St. Petersburg, being a Dutch citizen, he went to work for the Bank of Holland and done very well for himself, and now he's back in Curacao, and he'll be in Houston for the game upcoming for Curacao, June the 14th. They've drawn Germany in the first game, so we know what Germany's like. But I received in the mail just a few days ago the away kit jersey for Curacao from my dear former player and friend, Patrick Wagner. So I am the proud owner and will wear it proudly, the national team Curacao kit. And then we've got the Cape Verde Islands, and not to mention the island of Haiti. And there's so many other small countries that are going to be in this year's World Cup. And so we're gonna see a very interesting World Cup. But going back to trying to stay positive and trying to go forward with our best efforts and our best energies. I heard a term, and you and I are at the age we hear things that we had forgotten about. And it's in regards to the Tampa Bay Rowdies, one of the broadcasters. The Tampa Bay Rowdies right now are undefeated in the USL Championship, and they'll be hosting. They're a great host of the High School Champions League, and will be hosting once again at Al Lang Stadium the Champions League, which I'm hearing, Kevin, that you're coming down for that game. You're coming down in December 12th,
I'm thinking
2020.
positive. I'm thinking all positive. I'm throwing out all negativity. I'm going to be there.
You
December.
better, pal.
All
I'll
right
take
then.
care of you.
All
I'll
right
take
then.
care of you. We're going to be doing it Ferg's Sports Bar, the number one sports bar. The Tampa Bay Rowdies hosted the Champions League draw there recently for the upcoming Champions League in Tampa Bay, and they're great sponsors. But the Tampa Bay Rowdies, they're undefeated, and they make you earn every blade of grass on the field. We've kind of heard that before, and that means you've got to put the effort in. You got to be willing to come together. And I heard a lot of these great documentaries. Weston McKinney say the same thing. Yeah, the talent's better. We've come through a lot of these times of growth and setbacks and so on, so forth. But I'm positive the U.S. team is going to go forward and have a great World Cup. And we all have to take that mindset. We all want to do well. There's only been 8 countries that have won the World Cup, and this will be the 24th one. Um, you've got countries like Holland, the Netherlands, that have never won it and lost it 3 times in the finals. So it's no easy task to win the Champions League. Excuse me, to win the World Cup. But heading into the 2030 World Cup, which will be hosted in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, with some individual games in South America, Argentina and Paraguay. Would that be the year or the time that we win the World Cup? Or is it this year? I don't know. Nobody knows. I do know it's all about our attitude and staying positive. And I'll end on this name drop, who's a former high school Champions League player that is playing professional soccer now, Santiago Castaneda
Wow.
from Paderborn Football Club. And they just got promoted to the Bundesliga 1 from Bundesliga 2 in a promotion playoff, beat Wolfsburg, who was already in Bundesliga 1, and beat them in a promotion playoff. Wolfsburg's dropping down to Bundesliga 2. Santiago is currently with the under-21 national team. Santiago credits the Tampa Bay High School Champions League of giving him a re-energized and a refreshed look at the game in his formative years. And he went on to play for Tampa Prep in the Champions League and win it. And then was signed on to the Tampa Bay Rowdies USL Academy team. Then was seen at a tryout in Europe. Got signed on by Duisburg in Germany in the 3rd league. Then got transferred over to Paderborn. Has been a starting central number 6 midfielder, circulating type player. And I think that he's going to be one of our players for the future. Could he be in the 2030 World Cup roster? And he evolved out of the Champions League? Well, we're going to find out. But first, we got to get through this summer and the league. And I'm so looking forward to it. And I think I'm looking forward to having you come down. And as we go forward with my episodes, I want to continue on the pioneer notion and how we're evolving, and it's a work in progress. And we got to keep up the faith, brother. We got to keep at it, and we got to believe, and that's all there is to it. That's my take for this morning, Kevin. I hope that gets us going into the World Cup and the mindset and remembering how we got here. We talk about what's the answer. Well, the Champions League, the U.S. High School Champions League, is a movement. And if we look back in our past, high school soccer, shoot, I played high school soccer when I was a goalkeeper and there was no gloves. Uh, that's how young I am. And we've evolved and we're going to continue to evolve. And I think maybe that's the answer. Everybody says our system's broken and we're not doing this. Well, I'll tell you what, if you put the right 2020 lenses, we've accomplished a lot and there's a lot more to accomplish. So I look forward to talking about those things. I thank you for letting me kind of share my thoughts. And until next time, Kevin, I'll see you in 2 weeks, I believe, for my next episode in June 23rd. And we'll see how far the World Cup has come along at that point. That's it from my end, brother.
Oh man, that's beautiful, beautiful, Jimmy DINobile. Man, you mentioned hands free, uh, glove free goalkeeping, baby. You were right there. We were there, and
Well, I did wear gloves. When it got below freezing, I put the gloves on that I made snowballs with up
oh man,
in
wow,
Providence, Rhode Island.
yeah,
So
yeah,
where I played my soccer.
yeah. Put out, some like welding gloves and so forth. Yeah. So here it is. You mentioned Marley in the high school Champions League, and
Yep.
then the movement. Baby, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I gotta hold myself down, man, because I got to
Well,
leave my feet on the ground, and my head's in the clouds. Thank you, Jimmy.
it's a great future. You just got to remember how we got there. So let's get after it.
All right then. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jimmy DINobile and the Whales on the United States National High School Champions League starting 11. All right, Jimmy, take care.
See ya.